and welcome to my YouTube channel. On the 1st of May 2023, I started my first Etsy shop selling digital products. And in today's video, I want to go through 1 year being on Etsy selling digital products and give you all the insights and all the numbers you might be curious about if you want to know what it is like to sell digital products for 1 year on Etsy. I have prepared a little slideshow for you in today's video. So hopefully this will help you to know a little bit more about what it is like to be 1 year on Etsy. I'm also in the middle of putting together a workbook about Etsy for beginners selling digital products on Etsy. It will be over 100 pages, so it goes really into detail how to start an Etsy shop selling digital products. My plan is to give away the first copies, so it would be great if you can leave a comment down below telling me if you would be interested in that workbook. And in my upcoming videos, I will let you know when it's finished and I will choose a few people to give this copy to, so stay tuned for it. But in the meantime, you can also grab a list of 50 digital products ideas I put together, and the link is down in the description. You also sign up for my newsletter where I share a lot of tips about Etsy and also other income streams. You always hear about new things in my newsletter first. And if you haven't started your Etsy shop yet, I also have a link in my description where you can grab your 40 free listings. Without further ado, let's jump to my presentation. And if you like what you see, then I would really appreciate it if you like this video and also subscribe to my channel so more people can learn about Etsy. Thank you, and let's get started. So hello and welcome. This is my presentation, 1 year on Etsy. So let's jump into what you can expect from this presentation. I want to actually for the first time talk a little bit about who am I, and also will tell you a little bit about my personal preparation and research to give you an idea what it took for me to start my Etsy shop very briefly. And then I go into the numbers, how much money did I make? And also I want to talk a little bit about Etsy ads. And at the end of this presentation, I also want to give you a few insights and learnings so you can replicate what I have done so you can succeed on Etsy. Let's get started. So first of all, my brand is Female Income Creator, and Female Income Creator is a place where we can openly discuss our dreams and starting digital side hustles or even full-time income replacements, aiming for more financial flexibility in our lives. Each of us can achieve this on our own terms and in our own time. So that is what Female Income Creator is about here on my YouTube channel. And then a little bit about me. I'm actually 39 years old, almost 40, so I'm not one of those very young creators or, Etsy sellers. And I have 2 kids, a 2-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old daughter. And I also have a British almost husband. We are engaged, so not married yet. And my professional background, maybe just so you know who am I that I actually sell digital products on Etsy. But yeah, in general, I have done content creation, social media management, account management, and data analysis in my life. So here is a very short story. So I was born and raised in Germany, so maybe you can hear that a little bit in my accent. I studied film, theater, and media at the University of Vienna, and I got my first account manager job at a social media agency in London. And at some point, I also moved to Singapore and worked in an advertising agency. And when I came to London, I worked in advertising, but also then as an insights analyst. So this is a bit my professional background. And then I moved to Sweden and started my own business. So why did I choose Etsy? So maybe that resonates a little bit with you as well. So first of all, I really like that on Etsy, people are used to buying digital products. So it's a great platform to sell digital products. In general, selling digital products, you have no shipping. So you don't have to have the hustle and bustle of shipping, which is really great, I think. And then also Etsy comes with an existing audience, which I find very useful. And I can reach customers from various countries around the world, which is amazing. There's a lot you can learn about Etsy and improve. So that's why I think it's also great to sell digital products on Etsy. So that's just my personal view, but I just wanted to give you a few points why Etsy is really great. And then I want to talk a little bit about preparation and research. So preparation, I think it's very important important that you have the right mindset when you start on Etsy. Sometimes you just see the numbers and you just want results, you just want success, but you have to be very careful because that almost is something which leads to failure or giving up. It is better to focus on creation rather than results. At least that's something I try to tell myself every single day. It's not that easy, to be honest. This is a daily reminder I need, that I can't just always concentrate on the results. Obviously, they're great orientation. I do want to succeed. I want to look at my numbers to make conclusions, but I don't want to be crazy that I need to reach something in a certain amount of time. I just wanted to mention this as a preparation part, but also take it serious. I told myself when I started, this is serious. I really want to make it happen. I want to succeed no matter what that looks like, you know, a little bit of growth here and there or sales here and there, whatever that means to you. I didn't have these concrete goals because my goal was more on the creation part rather than the results, but I took it very serious. Like almost Etsy is my business, which then kind of became also part of my business. And I told myself I should be at least 1 year active on Etsy, you know, creating listings and being active in general, improving my shop, improving my listings, and all these things. So that was my preparation, mainly mindset. And then research. Research is really key. You can't just start on Etsy and then think about trying things and maybe here, maybe I'm interested in that. No, you need a little bit of research, which I have videos about as well. Use Etsy to do your research or use keyword research tools. Both of it is absolutely fine. I mentioned in my videos a few keyword research tools you can check out. You find them in my description. See what resonates with you and what helps you to really achieve your goals. But also don't get lost in the research process, because that, you know, you can do a lot of research and at the end you don't really take any action and then nothing happens. So find a good balance in researching, but also start. And now let's go into the numbers. I want to tell you what it is like to be on Etsy for 1 year. So I will talk about the number of listings because I get this question all the time. So you can really see a little bit of like a timeline of how many listings I was publishing each day, each month. And then obviously let's talk about visits and my orders, the revenue and the profit. And then last but not least, I also want to talk about ads and offsite ads. So numbers of listings, you can see nice little overview. I would say things to consider when creating products and listings. As you may or may not know, I create printables on my Etsy shop. These printables in general, I would say, are in the productivity space. Sometimes they're quite specific, but in general, I would say they are quite easy to create. The barrier is quite low. It doesn't take me too much time, although there's also obviously bundles, which takes a bit more time. But you know, you have also Google Sheets or Notion templates. These take so much more time to create. So you really have to ask yourself, how complex is your product to create, how easy or difficult it is. And then how much time do you need to create a product and how much time do you have? Maybe you have a full-time job. You know, you have to figure that out a little bit as well, like how much time you can actually dedicate to create products. Then also what is the price of your product? So printables are more on the lower end of the price, whilst something which is more complex like a Notion template or a Google Sheet can be a bit higher priced. But you can see here a little bit of an overview. So my goal was to create one listing per day or to publish one listing per day. The creation was different. Sometimes I created multiple printables in one day, but I wanted to publish one listing per day. I started on the 1st of May. At the end of the month, I had 30, then another 30 in June, another 30 in July, August, September, October. So in October, I had actually 180 listings, which sounds a lot, to be honest. And to be fair, I really put in the effort. I really was sitting down a lot of times to create these listings. You know, it's not that you can just do this and you have listings and you can sell them. So I put a lot of time and effort into it. But then it slowed down a little bit because I remember I had a freelance gig in November, so I couldn't really produce so many listings. The same in December, and there was also a long Christmas break of 2 weeks. So I slowed down a little bit with creating listings. But what I did do is duplicate listings, and this is something absolutely fine to do. And I changed, you know, either the title, or the tags or the first image to have a bit of a difference there. And actually it really helped to revive the listings. So I have like a listing which was really popular, but then it kind of calmed down. So I duplicated it, named it something different, but it was still the same product. And this one really took off. So that was really great. That was a personal experience. But yeah, to this date, April, I have 250 listings. So I slowed down a little bit, but now I'm starting again to create more listings, to add more products to my shop again. But yeah, for the last probably about 5 months or so, I felt like that my Etsy shop was really passive income because I didn't really create that many more listings. It was a lot of duplicates. It was a good feeling that I had a bit of a passive income here. So let's have a look at the visits. So this is my year on Etsy from May 2023 to April 2024. I feel like it was a slow growth, but that was also okay. You can really see here in the first months how slowly it was growing, and then you can see a spike here, and that was really Pinterest. One of my pins on Pinterest went viral, so I got a lot of traffic in October and also in November from Pinterest. But that stopped eventually, and then I went back to have like a kind of a steady number, not as little as at the beginning, a little bit more, but you can see there was a little bit of a decline here, and we are okay at April. Obviously, I would love to see growth every month, but that is just a reality sometimes. So these are my visits. And then the next slide is orders. And you can see that orders are actually higher. So although if I go back, have less visits compared to, in the middle of my 1 year journey, the orders still look quite nice. And it really depends. Like, I'm experimenting with a lot of things. It depends on the prices and discounts I have in my shop. I don't change prices too often, but sometimes I do, especially when I see a bit of a slow growth. I feel like maybe I should lower my prices a little bit, but I really don't do that too often, and I definitely don't do that with all of my listings, just the ones where I think people are really interested in buying them. But discounts I have all the time, and then it just varies how much discount I give. Normally it's about 30%, but sometimes when it's slower again, I would go to 40%, and I have rare occasions where I do 50%. In general, again, steady number here. And also sometimes it depends on the type of order. If people are buying like single printables or bundles, it varies sometimes as well here with the orders. And you can see I had my highest number of orders in November and in January. Revenue. So revenue also grew, which is amazing until January 2024. And then it declined a little bit, but average is about $1,400 each month, which is quite nice. I don't really want to complain about it, but obviously I would also like to see it grow. And as I mentioned earlier, it's quite passive income the last months because I didn't really create that many new listings. So I feel my shop really has a lot of potential, and I can just continue creating listings and finding out, what people are interested in. And here you can see in January, I had a revenue of $1,750, which was my highest. And then also in December was $1,630, and in total I earned $11,311, which is an interesting number. Dollars in 1 year. And again, it's not, like people want to see I earned 100,000 on Etsy, which is absolutely possible. But maybe you and me, we are people with a slower growth, and we have to figure it out in a different way. Not everyone can make $100,000 in their first year on Etsy, and which is absolutely fine. It's not a failure. It's not a bad thing. Like, who doesn't want $10,000 more, and especially if there's part of it passive income. So I don't feel bad about it, but of course I have this drive of earning more. And here's also the profit. So in general, I would say at the end, in the last month, from probably around, October, I think it was almost 1,000. No, probably in November, I had my first 1,000 months of $1,000 profit. So in general, that's what I make now. And obviously I still have to pay tax, and I live in Sweden, so it's not that cheap. You can kind of balance it out a little bit with expensive, but that's for another video. And I think it's just very important that I persevere. Only with perseverance we will see if that can really increase. But yeah, here you can see in January I had a profit of 1,340, December 1,320, and in total my profit was $8,405, not including tax. And then I just wanted to show you a little bit of an overview, like some stats directly from Etsy: visits versus revenue, which is very interesting because, you know, a lot is going on than just more visits. You know, you don't always need more visits, and that means more sales. You can see that actually my visits went down a little bit in the past 5 months, but my revenue almost stayed the same. So that's not too bad. And you need to think about the products you offer, the price, the discounts, duplicate listings, etc. What I mentioned earlier. So let's talk a little bit about ads. So things to consider when running ads on Etsy. So it really depends on your product. At the very beginning, I put ads on any, you know, listing I had, and most of the time it was like a very low priced item, like $2 printable. So nowadays I only run ads on the very kind of my most expensive listings. So when I spend $1 or $5 or something, then when I sell a product, I get like $8 or $10 in return. So it makes a little bit more sense. And, you know, I also pay attention to if my product is actually popular organically, so maybe a bestseller, because you can run ads with like new products and stuff, but I haven't personally been very successful with doing that. I have been most successful with listings where I knew there's interest and then I enhanced it with Etsy ads. So I would also say experiment, but not too often. For example, sometimes I increased the price of, you know, my Etsy spend. I changed the listing number of listings, but in general, like normally I should at least have a 2 weeks or maybe a month where I run Etsy's and don't make any changes. Not that you can make many changes. That's actually another thing. Etsy ads is a funny thing because you don't really have much power over the ads. You cannot target specific people. Etsy does that for you and has to figure out, you know, what your listing is all about to reach the right audience, and it could be a hit or miss. So you do have to make sure that it is quite clear who are you targeting with your digital product. So here you can see it's the visits, and then here is the money I spent in 1 year. You can see I started off really, really high. I had $1 basically each day for a few months. Then it didn't go very well. I think October, November. Yeah, in November, December, it started to really not work out for me at all. And you can see here down here are the orders. So it really slowed down. So I also spent less. Then I did a little bit of an experiment here where I spent more. And then you can also see there are more orders, but I will talk about that in another video. And then offsite ads, I wanted to mention, you have no control over offsite ads whatsoever. You don't know anything about it apart from when someone clicks on it or buys a product, basically. Then you can see a little bit of insights, you know, where it's coming from. Most of my offsite ads come from search engines such as Bing or Google. But I really like offsite ads because they worked really well for me, especially for one product. You can see the conversion rate is 5.2%. So yeah, I made definitely a bit of money with offsite ads. And I want to finish my presentation with a few insights and learnings. First of all, I want to say just keep moving forward. So it's not very easy sometimes. I almost doubt myself every single day. I'm disappointed that I don't make more money. I don't know how much money is good enough. I guess people throw out a lot of times like this number of $10,000 per month with Etsy or $100,000 in a year. And if you don't make that, you feel like, am I even successful on Etsy? But I would say yes. So I have a few questions here to ask myself and then to give you an answer here. What inspired you to start selling digital products on Etsy? And you know, it's the flexibility, it's the existing audience, and it's also the creativity you can have in creating products on Etsy. And then question 2, how did you decide on the types of digital products to sell? Yes, so I did research, obviously, and I also asked myself what I'm really interested And so that way I really found something which I thought I could do and also stick with. And then in general, I also ask myself, what's the capability? Do I have the skills to actually do that? And creating printables wasn't my skill set, so I went with that. Question 3 is, what were the biggest challenges you faced in your first year on Etsy? You know, the slow growth I mentioned is a challenge. I do tell myself it's absolutely fine, because everywhere you hear like growth there and lots of money here, and in like a few months, my first month on Etsy, or in 6 months, and I really had to tell myself it's fine to have a slow growth. I have a bigger goal. You know, I really want to make money, but maybe it takes me 1 or 2 years or 3 years on Etsy. And then time management, obviously it is quite a bit of time I need to spend to create these products, and I have other things as well. Motivation, you know, staying motivated, especially during periods of slow sales, and you know, when you don't get the right feedback and stuff. It was a challenge, and it is still a challenge. Question here, how did you overcome those challenges? I just tell myself I have to persevere. I cannot give up. Giving up is not an option. And I want to have a strong mindset. You know, I really want to keep seeing it positive and believing in my abilities. You know, I can do it. You just have to stick with it. And then what is very important as well, I just stick to my scheduled time. I have dedicated time where I create things. I'm just doing that, and I try not to think about anything else. Question 5, what strategies did you use to market your Etsy shop and digital products? So I use a lot of Etsy SEO, and I made a video about it if you want to check it out as well, what it means. But yeah, titles, tags, descriptions, you know, I put a lot of effort into the visibility, like, you know, the branding in my shop in general, but also my listings. I did start a newsletter, which is also slow growth, but it helps me. And I use social media a little bit. I was experimenting with Pinterest and also a little bit with TikTok. So this is just an ongoing thing. Question number 6, how did you determine pricing for your digital products? That is a good question. Really, there's competitor analysis, so really trying to figure out what other competitors are pricing their products. I'm experimenting a lot with discounts, as I mentioned earlier. And, you know, I have regular adjustments. So this is something I'm still quite active. You know, if I feel like there's less orders, you know, I see what I can change a little bit, because you can always change a little bit the price or the discount. So this is quite an easy thing to do. Question 7, did you encounter any unexpected successes or failures? How did you adapt? For example, yeah, I found that raising the price of a popular item didn't deter sales and actually increased revenue. So increasing the price was something I did, and you know, I earned more money. And then also I created new listings by bundling popular products together, which attracted more buyers. Yeah, a combination of products was also something I discovered which works really well. So rather than having even one bundle, I grouped them together to 2 bundles or 3, 4 bundles. And then I also have a whole shop bundle, which people are interested in, and I make more money with this. And then sometimes I reduce the price of items that weren't selling well to make them more appealing to customers. Yeah. So, which is obviously not the most ideal. So this is maybe, I wouldn't say this is a failure. This is something you sometimes have to do. Question number 8. What tools or resources did you find most helpful in managing your Etsy shop? So research tools I use a lot. Platforms like Everbee and eRank for keyword research and market analysis. I look at competitors all the time. Well, not all the time, but I'm very curious. I really want to know what's going on and stay up to date. Maybe I find something which is very popular right now. Then I have the opportunity to create something in that area. And also in general, use Etsy research. I leverage Etsy own research functionality to understand customer preferences and trends. Question 9, how did you handle customer inquiries, feedback, and reviews? So I really try to respond as soon as possible, definitely within 24 hours. So I take it very seriously. When a customer reaches out to me, it's really important to me to provide really great customer service, and I'm trying to be super friendly as well. There have been some reviews which were unfair, and I really, you know, advocated for myself by addressing unfair reviews directly with Etsy when it was necessary. So that's something you should definitely do. Just not leave that review there, but you know, you can reach out to Etsy, for example. And also adapting to feedback. So sometimes customers would reach out to me and asking me questions or giving me feedback, and I really then try to improve my products. So that was definitely very helpful. And question 10, looking back, what advice would you give to someone starting their own Etsy shop selling digital products? So first of all, find your niche. Very, very important. And I also have videos about it. Research market demands and choose digital products that align with your interests and capabilities. Stay persistent. Very, very, very important. Like, you cannot give up. You really have to stick with it for quite a while. Like, even a year I find almost too short to really tell if you could be successful, even if there are people out there who are incredibly successful within a year. But also market wisely, utilize good SEO practices, focus on branding, and engage with customers. Price strategically, I talked about this quite a few times. Obviously look at competitors, offer discounts. What I really found is people just really want value. So when they see your product, they want a good price, maybe a low price, for a lot of value. That is just the reality, and it feels good. I can see that with myself when I'm on Etsy browsing and I want to or find something in particular. I like it when I feel like, oh my God, this is so many pages, or so much I get from this one product, and the price is really good. And then also adapt, be open to unexpected successes and failures, and adapt by adjusting pricing, creating new listings, or bundling products, as I mentioned before. And use helpful tools. Very important. I mentioned that Everbee and eRank. You can check them out in the links below. Customer service, I mentioned. Etsy is a customer service, platform as well. Like, treat your customers not poorly, but welcome them and welcome their feedback and respond to them. Stay motivated, keep a positive attitude, and believe in your abilities. Learn and improve. So really try to take it as a learning curve. It's a journey. It's not only a destination. It's not only earning money, but you can learn from Etsy. You can build skills with Etsy, with being on Etsy. And what I mentioned many times to myself and on this channel, stay consistent, persevere, and be patient. I thank you so much for sticking till the end of this presentation and this video. And let me know if you have any questions. Leave a comment down below, and I hope I will see you in my next video. Bye!